The wind howled across the red sands of Alarion, a dry and lonely planet far from Earth. Under the twin suns, a small group of researchers moved carefully through broken stone ruins, their boots crunching on dust that had not been touched in thousands of years. Lena Carter wiped sweat from her brow and looked down at the strange symbols carved into the stone floor beneath her. She was an archaeologist, young but smart, and she had spent months chasing rumors of this place. Now, standing inside what looked like a buried chamber, she felt a chill that had nothing to do with the wind. "We've got something," she called out, brushing away more sand. "This isn't just a ruin, it's a vault." Behind her, Nate Rivera adjusted his glasses and knelt beside her. He was a linguist, quiet but sharp, and he stared at the markings with wide eyes. "These symbols, they don't match any known language," he whispered, "but they feel important." They worked fast, clearing more of the entrance until they found a sealed door made of dark metal. After hours of careful work, the door groaned open, revealing a chamber filled with glowing lines of light. In the center stood a pedestal, and on it, a small crystal device pulsed gently. "What do you think it is?" Lena asked. "Not sure," Nate said, picking it up carefully. "But if I'm right, this could be older than anything we've ever found." Meanwhile, in space above Alarion, the ship CS Horizon floated silently. Captain Ethan Cole stood on the bridge, arms crossed, watching the planet below. "We received Dr. Carter's message," said the comms officer. "She says she found something big." "Then let's go get it before someone else does," Ethan replied. He was a man of few words but deep thought. He knew the galaxy was changing. Peace talks with the Threxians were failing, and rumors of ancient prophecies were spreading like fire. As the Horizon dropped a shuttle to pick up Lena and Nate, none of them knew what they were about to start. But when the crystal began to glow, brighter in Nate's hands, even the most skeptical among them felt it. Something old had just woken up, and somewhere far away, others were already watching, waiting for their chance to take it. The CS Horizon left orbit around Alarion with the crystal locked safely inside. Lena Carter paced in the lab, watching Nate Rivera work. He sat hunched over a small desk, eyes focused on the glowing device they had found. It pulsed like a heartbeat. "It's not just data," Nate said after a long silence. "It's a message." Lena leaned closer. "From who?" "From someone who knew this would be found someday," he replied. "Or maybe from someone who wanted to warn us." Meanwhile, Captain Ethan Cole stood near the front of the ship, looking at the stars. He was a man used to danger, but something about this mission felt different. The moment they left the planet, strange signals began picking up behind them. Quiet, fast ships hiding in the dark. "We're being followed," said his pilot, Maria Ellis. "Can we outrun them?" Ethan asked. "Maybe. But if they want that crystal bad enough, they won't stop chasing." Back in the lab, Nate had managed to pull up more of the message. The words were broken, but one name kept appearing. Valek. "I've heard that name before," Lena said. "He's a warlord, works for whoever pays him best." "Then he knows what we have," Nate said quietly. On Earth, things were falling apart. The peace talks with the Threxians had collapsed, and rumors of the discovery on Alarion spread fast. Some called it a holy sign, others a weapon. And in the shadows, groups started moving, each wanting the crystal for their own reasons. As the Horizon jumped into faster-than-light travel, alarms suddenly blared. "They found us!" Maria shouted. A fleet of dark ships dropped out of warp, surrounding them. At the center was a large warship, its hull marked with symbols none of them recognized. Valek's voice came through the comms, cold and sharp. "Hand over the crystal and you may live." Ethan looked at Lena and Nate. "We can't let this fall into the wrong hands." "Then we run," Maria said, pushing the engines hard. The Horizon twisted through space, dodging fire, barely escaping as explosions lit up the void behind them. But they knew this was only the beginning. Someone else wanted the prophecy, and they wouldn't stop until they had it. The CSS Horizon limped into the orbit of a small mining station near Mars. The ship was damaged, its engines barely holding together after the escape from Valek's fleet. Lena Carter helped Nate Rivera carry the crystal to the station's secure lab, while Captain Ethan Cole stayed on the bridge making urgent calls to people he still trusted. "We can't keep running forever," Maria Ellis said, checking the ship's systems. "We need a plan." "We have one," Ethan replied. "We finished translating that message before anyone else gets their hands on it." In the lab, Nate worked quickly, his fingers flying across the keyboard. The crystal pulsed with soft light as lines of ancient text filled the screen. "This part talks about a choice," Nate muttered. "It says someone must be chosen. Someone born from the old blood." Lena frowned. "What does that mean?" Nate didn't answer right away. He scrolled down and stopped at a name. "Daniel Ward." "He's real," Nate whispered. "He exists." Meanwhile, on Mars Station Theta, Daniel was just another worker in the engine bay. He wore a grease-stained uniform and spent his days fixing broken machines. No one paid much attention to him. He liked it that way, but that changed when a man in a dark coat approached him during his break. "You don't know who you are, do you?" the man asked. Daniel blinked. "I think I'd know that." The man handed him a small stone carved with strange symbols. "Your blood remembers what your mind forgets." Before Daniel could ask more, the station shook. An explosion roared through the lower decks. People screamed and ran as smoke filled the halls. Daniel ducked behind a console, heart pounding. Then something strange happened. The fire and heat stopped near him like they couldn't touch him. He felt something inside. Something waking up. Back on the horizon. Ethan got the news. "Someone just tried to kill him," Nate said. "They knew where he was. Then we move now," Ethan said. "Get us down to that station." As the horizon prepared for landing, Valek's fleet appeared again, jumping out of warp near Mars space. He wasn't far behind. Daniel stood in the smoke, staring at the stone in his hand. He didn't understand what was happening, but deep inside something told him. He was part of something much bigger than himself, and the galaxy was coming for him. Daniel Ward stepped onto the horizon, still holding the carved stone. His clothes were singed, his hands shook, but he was alive. Lena Carter met him first, studying his face like she was trying to see something hidden. "You felt it back there, didn't you?" she asked. Daniel nodded slowly. "The fire stopped near. Me like it knew me." Nate Rivera looked up from his screen. "It's not magic. It's something older, something built into your blood." As the ship left Mars Station behind, Ethan Cole gave orders for a new jump point. They couldn't stay in one place for long. Valek was closing in, and now that Daniel was with them, they had no choice but to keep moving. In the days that followed, Lena taught Daniel what she could about the Keepers, the ancient race that once ruled the stars before vanishing without a trace. Their symbols were everywhere, carved into forgotten worlds, hidden in myths, and somehow their legacy lived on in him. But Daniel wasn't sure he wanted it. He spent most of his time in the quiet corners of the ship, staring out at space, thinking about what the man in the coat had said. "Your blood remembers what your mind forgets." Meanwhile, news from Earth grew worse. General Carlton Rowe had taken control of the United Terran Alliance. He declared that humanity must claim the Prophecies' power before any alien race could. "He thinks he can use it," Maria Ellis said, watching reports flash across the screen. "He doesn't even understand what it is," Nate replied. "On Virex Prime?" Valek stood inside a dark chamber beneath the surface. His soldiers had uncovered something massive, something buried long ago. The ground trembled as ancient machines roared to life. "The weapon awakens," Valek whispered. Back on the horizon, the crystal pulsed stronger than ever. When Daniel touched it, he saw flashes of light, voices speaking in a language he didn't know but somehow understood. Visions filled his mind, battlefields in space, ships burning, a great voice calling all life to kneel or die. He gasped and pulled away, breathing hard. "What did you see?" Lena asked. "A war," he whispered. "A war that hasn't started yet." Ethan looked at him, serious. Then we don't have much time. Just then, an alarm blared. "We've got company," Maria said. Everyone rushed to the front. Through the view screen, dark ships dropped out of warp. Valak had found them. The chase was over. Now the fight would begin. The CSS Horizon dove into the thick clouds of a storm-racked moon, engines burning hard. Behind it, Valak's warships fired blindly, their shots lighting up the sky but missing by inches. Inside the ship, alarms blared and lights flickered as the crew held on tight. "We won't lose them that easy," Maria Ellis said, gripping the controls. Ethan Cole stood behind her, eyes sharp. "We're not trying to lose them. We're buying time." In the back of the ship, Lena Carter helped Daniel. Ward steady himself. He was pale, still shaken from what he had seen in the crystal. The visions kept coming. Flashes of fire, voices calling for war, and something vast waiting beneath the stars. "You're starting to understand, aren't you?" Lena asked. Daniel nodded slowly. "It's not just a prophecy, it's a warning." Meanwhile, Nate Rivera worked furiously at his console trying to decode more of the crystal's message. He finally found a name: Aetheris. It wasn't a place or a weapon. It was something alive. "A machine," Nate whispered, "but not like any we've built." On Earth, General Carlton Rowe tightened his grip on power. He declared martial law, sending soldiers into the streets and silencing anyone who spoke against him. Across the colonies, people watched in fear as warships moved toward the outer systems. "He thinks he can control it," one officer muttered in a secret meeting. "But he doesn't even know what it really is." Officers loyal to the old alliance began forming a quiet resistance. Among them was Miranda Lang, a former diplomat who had once believed peace was possible. Now she knew the only way forward was through unity, not under force but through choice. Back on the horizon, Valak's fleet closed in again. This time, they weren't alone. Other ships joined them, some Threxian, some human, all drawn by the same goal: to claim the power hidden in the prophecy. "They're not fighting each other anymore," Maria said. "They're all after us." Ethan looked at Daniel. "You need to make a choice: stay hidden or step forward." Daniel looked at the faces around him: Lena, Nate, Maria, even Ethan. They were risking everything for something they barely understood. But he understood now. He took a deep breath and stood tall. "Then let's show them what the prophecy really means." Outside, the storm cleared for a moment, revealing the stars beyond, and somewhere far away, something ancient felt the shift. Aetheris was waking up. Space above Virex Prime was no longer empty. Ships from many sides filled the dark, human warships under General Rowe's command, Threxian battlecruisers, Valak's Orvani fleet, and even smaller rebel groups trying to survive the storm. The CSS Horizon hovered at the edge of the battlefield, its hull scarred from the chase. Inside, the crew moved fast. They had one chance to stop what was coming. "We go down now," Ethan Cole said, "before it's too late." Daniel Ward stood near the back, holding the crystal tightly. He could feel it. Something beneath the planet was waking up. Not just a machine, but something ancient, waiting for a signal: Aetheris. Lena Carter looked at him carefully. "You know what you have to do, don't you?" Daniel nodded. "But I might not come back." Nate Rivera kept working at his screen. "There's more to this than we thought. Aetheris isn't just a weapon. It was built to judge civilizations, to decide if they deserve to live." Maria Ellis frowned. "Then why are all these people fighting to control it?" "Because they don't understand it," Nate said. "And if Daniel doesn't reach it first, someone worse will." Below them, on the surface of Virex Prime, Valak led a team into the ruins. His soldiers moved with purpose, carrying heavy weapons and old knowledge passed down through generations. He believed he was the rightful heir to the Keeper's power. "This world remembers us," he told his men. "We were cast aside, but now we return." Back on Earth, Miranda Lang and the Free Systems Accord launched their own mission. They sent messages across the colonies calling for unity, not under rule, but under choice. "This isn't about humans or aliens," she said. "It's about survival." In the cold silence of space, the horizon dropped toward the planet. Alarms rang as enemy fighters closed in. Maria fought the controls, dodging fire while Ethan gave orders. Get us down. Get Daniel to that chamber. Daniel stepped into the shuttle. Alone, the crystal glowing brighter in his hands, Lena followed. You're not going alone, she said. He smiled slightly. I wasn't planning to. As the shuttle broke through the atmosphere, the sky lit up with explosions. The final battle had begun. And deep beneath the surface, Aetheris waited. For the chosen, for the end, or for a new beginning. The shuttle landed hard on the cracked surface of Virax Prime. Smoke rose from the ground, lit by flashes of distant battle. Daniel Ward stepped out first, the crystal glowing in his hands like a living thing. Lena Carter followed close behind, her rifle ready. They ran toward the ruins, guided by the pulse of the crystal. Deep beneath the planet, Aetheris was fully awake now, its voice echoing through space, calling all life to choose. Submit or be erased. Above them, ships fired at each other in a storm of fire and light. Valak's forces clashed with General Rowe's fleet, while rebel fighters tried to hold the line. No one truly understood what they were fighting for. Only that it was powerful. Inside the ancient chamber, Daniel and Lena found what they were looking for. A tall, glowing structure stood at the center, made of metal and light. Symbols moved across its surface, speaking in a language older than stars. This is it, Lena whispered. This is Aetheris. Nate Rivera's voice crackled through their comms. Daniel, you have to act now. If someone else takes control, it's over. Valak entered the chamber behind them, gun raised. You don't understand what this is, he said. It was built to judge, not to save. Daniel turned slowly. Then maybe it's time we showed it something worth saving. He stepped forward and placed his hand on the core of Aetheris. A surge of light filled the room. His body lifted off the ground, surrounded by energy. He saw everything, the past, the present, the possible futures. He saw war, he saw peace, he saw choice. Aetheris spoke in a voice like thunder. No civilization is worthy. Daniel closed his eyes. Then help me make one. His mind merged with the machine. Memories, hopes, dreams, all poured into Aetheris. It began to change, no longer a judge, but a guide. Outside, every ship stopped firing. The signal had gone silent. In the silence, something new began. Daniel was gone. The chamber was dark. Lena fell to her knees, tears in her eyes. But the war was over. Weeks later, peace talks began again. Not under force, but under hope. Miranda Lang led the Free Systems Accord, working to unite species once divided. Valak disappeared into the outer colonies, changed by what he had seen. Ethan Cole returned to civilian life. Lena and Nate worked to teach others about the Keepers, not as gods, but as warnings and guides. And across the galaxy, people remembered one name, Daniel Ward. The Papan, one who chose not to rule but to release.